I've been sitting on this for a while, but after everything that went down I decided it's time to actually tell the full stories, not the short version, not the highlight reel. The real one. With all the quiet moments, the late night thoughts, the times I almost broke, and the exact choices that got me here. If you're reading this, maybe you're going through something similar. Maybe you need to hear that walking away doesn't make you weak. It can be the strongest move you ever make. Ava and I met 4 years ago at a birthday party for a mutual friend named Jordan. I almost didn't go that night. I was tired from work and had a big presentation the next day, but something told me to show up. She was standing by the kitchen island in this black leather jacket, laughing at something her friend said. Not a polite laugh. A real, loud, hate-thrown-back laugh. I remember thinking, damn, she actually enjoys being here. Most people at these things look like they're counting down the minutes. We got introduced and ended up talking for almost 3 hours straight. She told me about growing up in a small town outside the city, how she taught herself Photoshop in high school because her school didn't have art classes, how she once drove 6 hours just to see a band she loved even though she had no ticket and ended up watching from outside the venue. I told her about my job, how I liked the problem-solving part but hated the endless meetings. We discovered we both hated pineapple on pizza but loved it on burgers. Controversial, I know. By the end of the night I had her number and this weird feeling in my chest like something important had just started. We went on our first real date 2 weeks later, a tiny taco spot that had dollar tacos on Tuesdays. She showed up in the same leather jacket and we ended up staying until they closed, talking about everything from childhood fears to what we wanted out of life. She wanted to build something of her own one day, maybe her own small design studio. I wanted to eventually lead bigger projects and maybe move somewhere new when the time felt right. That night I walked her to her car and we kissed for the first time. It wasn't fireworks. It was just right. Like we already known each other longer than we had. A year later we moved in together. We found this 2-bedroom apartment with decent natural light and a small balcony where we put 2 cheap chairs and a plant she named Gerald. Gerald died within 2 months because neither of us remembered to water it, but we kept the pot as a joke. Our routines clicked. She'd wake up earlier and make coffee while I showered. I'd come home and cook dinner while she finished client work on the couch with her legs across my lap. We had a shared playlist called Our Shit that we added songs to constantly. On weekends we'd drive out to the lake with takeout and just sit in the car talking or making out like teenagers. I thought this was what forever looked like. Last year I proposed on a random Thursday. Nothing fancy, I cooked her favorite pasta, lit a couple candles, and pulled the ring out while she was mid-story about a nightmare client. She stopped talking, stared at the box, then at me, and started crying immediately. Happy tears. She said yes before I even finished asking. That night we stayed up planning like 2 kids who just won the lottery. 4 wedding by the lake. Small guest list, close friends and family only. She wanted tulips. I wanted whatever made her happy. We talked about kids someday, maybe 2, maybe 1, maybe none if life got too crazy. We were on the same page about everything. Or at least I thought we were. The shift started slowly. At first it was small things. She stopped adding songs to our playlist. Then she started staying later at her desk even when she didn't have urgent deadlines. When I asked about wedding stuff she'd give these vague answers. We'll figure it out, there's still time, I'm just overwhelmed with work right now. I kept making excuses for her in my head. Wedding planning is stressful. She's building her freelance career. She loves me, she said yes, everything is fine. But it wasn't fine. One night about 3 months before everything exploded, we were supposed to go to dinner with her sister and her sister's boyfriend. Ava cancelled at 6 p.m. saying she had a last-minute client call. I went alone and spent the whole dinner dodging questions about the wedding. When I got home she was already in bed asleep. Her phone was on the nightstand lighting up every few minutes. I didn't check it. I wanted to trust her. Then came the TikTok night. We were at Jordan's place again with about 10 people. Someone pulled up the trend where you answer personal questions honestly while everyone watches. It started funny, worst date stories, most embarrassing moments. Then someone asked, if you could relive one past relationship, which one would it be and why? The room got quiet when it was Ava's turn. She didn't even pause. Connor. We had this crazy chemistry back then. It was intense. I felt my stomach drop. Connor, the guy she told me cheated on her twice in college. The same guy she said she was completely over when we first started dating. The room stayed quiet for a second too long. She tried to laugh it off. It's just a game, guys. Don't look at me like that. But the damage was done. On the drive home I asked her calmly what that was about. She got defensive fast. It was a stupid question, Ethan. I was put on the spot. You're really gonna make this a thing? I dropped it that night because I didn't want to fight. But something in me shifted. I started noticing more. The way she angled her phone away when I walked into the room. The new password on her laptop she forgot to tell me. The way she disappeared into the bedroom to take a work call at 9 p.m. on a Saturday. I confronted her once, gently. Hey, is everything okay with us? You've seemed distant. She kissed me and said I was overthinking, that work was just crazy and she was tired. I wanted to believe her so badly that I did. Then came the Friday that ended it all. I left work early because I wanted to surprise her. Picked up her favorite Thai food and a bottle of wine. When I walked in, the apartment felt wrong. Too quiet. She was on the couch with her laptop open but the screen was dark. She looked up like she'd been caught doing something. You're home early, she said. Not hey babe or I miss you. Just that. I put the food down and asked what was going on. She took a deep breath and said the words that still echo in my head sometimes. I've been thinking a lot. About us. About where we're headed. And about Connor. I think I need to take a break to figure some things out. I want to see if there's still something there with him. If there isn't, I'll come back to you. I actually laughed at first because it felt so unreal. You want to pause our engagement, the one we've been planning for months, so you can go see if your cheating ex is still worth it? And I'm supposed to what? Just sit here and hold the spot. She started crying but also got defensive at the same time. It's not like that. I'm scared of making the wrong choice for the rest of my life. I need clarity. This isn't about you not being enough, it's about me needing to be sure. I stood up and started pacing. So I'm the safe choice you're keeping warm while you test drive the exciting one? That's what you're saying? She kept repeating that she just needed time and space. That if I really loved her I'd understand. I stopped pacing and looked at her for a long time. Something in me went completely still. You know what? I said quietly. Take your break. Take all the time you need. But I'm not waiting. She looked shocked. Like she expected me to fight for her, to beg, to promise I'd be here no matter what. Instead I helped her pack a bag. She kept saying, this isn't forever and we'll talk soon. I just nodded. When the door closed behind her I sat on the couch for maybe 2 hours without moving. Then I picked up my phone and called Marcus. Update 1. Marcus showed up with pizza, wings, and that look he gets when he's about to be brutally honest. I told him everything. He listened without interrupting, then said, Bro, she didn't just fumble. She threw the whole damn ball out the window and expected you to chase it. You're not chasing. You're done. We stayed up until almost 5 a.m. talking through every angle. He helped me see that this wasn't sudden, the signs had been there for months. The playlist going quiet. The cancelled plans. The phone behavior. The TikTok moment wasn't a one-off, it was the mass sleeping. The next morning I called a realtor. The apartment had always been in my name. Ava liked to say our home and pick out furniture, but the mortgage and down payment were mine. The realtor came over that afternoon, walked through, and told me we could list it immediately because the market in our area was moving fast. I signed the papers that same day. While he was there taking photos, I walked around touching things, the spot on the wall where we measured our heights as a joke, the kitchen counter where we used to dance while cooking. It hurt. But it also felt like I was finally doing something instead of waiting for something to be done to me. Packing her stuff was harder than I expected. I found a box of old photos from our first year together, us at the lake, us at a concert, us on the balcony with dead Gerald the plant. I put them all in one box labeled for her. Her clothes, her skincare, her stupid collection of motivational posters, I packed everything carefully. But I didn't drop it off myself. I hired movers and gave them one note to leave on the top box. Here's everything. Good luck with Connor. Ethan. It felt cold. It also felt necessary. Friends started reaching out. Jordan called and asked what happened. I told him the truth without extra drama. Ava wanted space to explore things with her ex. I decided I deserved better than being someone's maybe. He was quiet for a second, then said, "Respect." Most guys would have waited around hoping. You're not most guys. At work I finally pulled the trigger on the Austin transfer I'd been thinking about for over a year. Bigger role, better pay, new city. I updated my resume during lunch and sent it. 2 days later I had an interview scheduled. I crushed it. They offered me the position the following week. Ava started texting more as soon as she realized I wasn't sitting at home crying. First it was light, "Hey, how are you holding up?" Then it got longer, "I didn't think you'd actually sell the apartment. Can we talk?" When she found out about Austin she called me at 11 p.m. "You're really moving? Across the country?" "Ethan, this is crazy. We were supposed to get married." I kept my voice steady. "We were supposed to get married when you were sure about me. You're not sure. So I'm choosing myself." She cried on the phone. I just needed time. I was confused. "You're making this permanent when it doesn't have to be." "I'm making it permanent because you showed me exactly where I stand on your list of priorities. I'm done being an option." I hung up feeling both destroyed and strangely free. Update 2. The apartment sold in under 2 weeks for more than asking. I started packing my own life into boxes while Ava's messages kept coming, some angry, some pleading, some trying to guilt me. I answered the important ones and ignored the rest. Through mutual friends I started hearing how things were going with her and Connor. It wasn't the fairy tale she expected. He was still flaky, still disappearing for hours, still making her feel insecure. She tried to spin it online though. One post said, "Sometimes you have to lose yourself to find yourself again." Sparkles. Another, "Growth isn't always pretty but it's necessary." A third was a photo of her alone at the lake with the caption, "Reclaiming my peace." I didn't respond to any of them. I just posted one clean update, a photo of the Austin skyline at sunset with the caption, "New city. New chapter." Sometimes the best thing you can do is choose yourself. People noticed. Comments flooded in asking about Ava. I kept replying the same way, "We split." She needed to explore other options. I'm exploring mine. The narrative started shifting in our friend group. The people who were unsure at first started messaging me privately saying they respected how I handled it. Sarah, one of Ava's bigger clients and someone we both knew socially, asked me to grab coffee. We sat for almost 2 hours. She told me Ava had been telling people we were taking space to grow individually. When I told her the real story, Sarah's face changed. That explains why she's been so scattered on projects lately. 2 days later, Ava lost 2 ongoing clients. Not because I say anything bad, because word travels and nobody wants to work with someone who treats big commitments like experiments. Then Connor posted that story, them at the exact taco spot where Ava and I had our first date. He tagged her. It only stayed up for a few hours, but the damage was done. In our big group chat, people started reacting. One friend wrote, "This is actually wild. Another just left the chat. Ava's sister texted me that same night, I saw the story. I'm so sorry. You didn't deserve any of this. Ava showed up at my office the next evening unannounced. I was taping boxes. She looked exhausted, same jacket, hair messy, eyes swollen. I made a mistake, she said the second she walked in. A huge one. Connor is the same person he always was. I was scared of forever. I thought I needed to make sure there wasn't something better out there. But there isn't. You're it. You've always been it. I put the tape gun down and looked at her. Really looked. Ava, this isn't about Connor anymore. This is about the fact that while we were planning a wedding you were texting your ex for months. This is about you thinking you could keep me as a backup while you figured out if you wanted me or not. I'm not a backup. I'm not a safety net. And I'm not waiting around to see if you change your mind again in 6 months. She started crying harder, saying she'd go to therapy, she'd prove herself, she'd do anything. I stayed calm. You already proved who you are. I believe you the first time. She stood there for a long time, hoping I'd soften. I didn't. She left. Final update, the long one. The apartment closed. I signed the papers, handed over the keys, and walked out without looking back. Ava drove by later, according to her sister. She saw the new owner's moving truck and sat in her car crying for 20 minutes. That's when it finally became real for her. Connor actually reached out to me 2 weeks after everything ended. Long message. Said he never meant to cause problems, that Ava had contacted him months before she asked me for the break. She'd been planting seeds. He ended things with her because he realized if she could do it to me, she could do it to anyone. The irony wasn't lost on me. Her freelance work kept declining. Clients found other designers. I referred one of her old accounts to a friend who actually delivers and doesn't play games. She got the project within a week. On social media, Ava went through every stage publicly. Said quotes about losing the love of her life. Angry posts about people who can't handle someone growing. Then, launching my own design studio, followed by radio silence and job applications. Her sister kept me updated even though I didn't ask. She's staying with us. She keeps saying you'll come back. She still doesn't believe you're actually gone. Now I'm in Austin. The flight here felt surreal. I landed at night, took an Uber to my temporary sublet, and walked into an empty apartment with one suitcase and a sleeping bag. First night I sat on the floor eating gas station tacos and felt both terrified and excited. The next morning I started apartment hunting for real. Found this spot with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking downtown and the river. It's smaller than our old place but it's mine. No one else's energy in the walls. Work has been good. The team is younger, hungrier, and actually collaborative. My manager pulled me aside in week 2 and said, "We hired you because you seem like someone who gets shit done without the drama. Keep that energy." I plan to. I joined a bouldering gym 2 weeks after moving. First session I fell off the wall 3 times in 10 minutes and felt like an idiot. But the community is chill, people high-five you even when you fail. I've made a couple friends there. One guy named Derek keeps inviting me to group climbs on weekends. I usually go. It feels good to have plans that are just for me. Then there's Kai. I went to the shelter on a random Sunday just to look. This 11-month-old lab husky mixed with one ear that flops and the biggest brown eyes came right up to the gate and sat down like he was waiting for me. The volunteers said he'd been returned twice because he had too much energy. I filled out the paperwork that same day. First night home he cried for 3 hours straight. I sat on the floor next to his crate talking to him until we both fell asleep. Now he's my shadow. We go on long walks around the neighborhood at night when the city is quieter. He doesn't judge me when I talk out loud about the past. He just listens and occasionally licks my hand like he's saying "You're good, dude." I started guitar lessons because I always wanted to but never made time. My teacher is this older guy named Ray who used to play in bands in the 90s. First lesson I could barely hold a chord. He laughed and said, "Everyone sucks at first. The ones who keep showing up are the ones who get good." I show up every Tuesday. Last month they asked me to speak at a small tech mixer about how we shape our last project under a tight deadline. I was nervous as hell. But I got up there, told the story, even made a couple jokes. People came up after and wanted to connect. One girl gave me her number. I took it but haven't texted yet. I'm not ready to date seriously. I'm still learning how to be fully myself without performing for someone else's approval. The last message I got from Ava was that email about memories. I read it 3 times before replying. Part of me wanted to be softer. The bigger part of me knew softness would just reopen a door that needed to stay closed. My reply was simple and final: "Those years taught me exactly what I don't want in a partner." I thanked her for the lesson and wished her well. Then I deleted the thread. I've been thinking a lot about what I actually learned from all of this. I learned that love without certainty is just hope wearing a nice outfit. I learned that when someone tells you who they are through their actions, even if their words say something else, you should believe their actions. I learned that being someone's backup plan feels like slowly disappearing, and choosing yourself feels like suddenly existing again in full color. I also learned that starting over in a new city with a dog and a guitar and no plan for Saturday nights isn't the end of the world. It can be the beginning of something that actually belongs to you. If you're reading this and you're in the middle of something similar, if someone is keeping you on the bench while they figure out if they want you or someone else, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not a maybe. You are not a backup. You are not a lesson they get to learn after they've already hurt you. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is close the door they left open on purpose. It will hurt like hell for a while. Then one day you wake up in a new city, or a new apartment, or just a new version of yourself, and you realize you can breathe again. That's when you know you made the right choice. Thanks to everyone who followed these updates, sent messages, told me I was doing the right thing even when I doubted it. You help more than you know. If this story helped you in any way, drop a comment or share it. Someone else might need it. And if you're new here, welcome. There will be more stories like this. Real ones. Messy ones. But always with the reminder that you can choose yourself and still come out on the other side stronger. I'm in Austin now. I've got Kai. I've got a team that respects me. I've got a guitar that's slowly starting to sound less terrible. And I've got a future that finally feels like mine. No more pauses. No more backups. Just forward. Take care of yourselves out there. Peace. Victory Hand.